another edition of Infield Fly, talking some hot stove with you in this baseball off-season, and the biggest news happened this week. We will get into it, and our teams, our favorite teams have been a little active as well. We'll get into that and check out everything going on in Major League Baseball. Glad you are with us. I'm Rob Fisher. I'm a Cardinals fan. We've been a little active, I guess you could say. Lang Whitaker is a Braves fan, no longer the reigning world champion. No longer. That's all right. Yeah. Braves are a little active, and the Cubbies a little active as well. Keith Murphy joins us as well. Hello, fellas. How are you?
Pretty good, man.
We're good.
Yep.
Looks like you're about to start singing the Christmas song.
Yeah. Get the chestnuts roasting, man.
I feel like Andy Williams, except I don't have the big fur on, you know. But I just feel like coming out and going, "It's the most," and you know, just everybody join.
My dad always tells the story about when he and my mom were at some restaurant in Montgomery, Alabama, and Andy Williams showed up. It's
nice.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like, you know, the biggest celebrity they'd ever seen in person. It's great.
Interesting.
I saw Andy Williams in concert. He was fantastic.
I'm not surprised.
It was a Christmas show at the fabulous Fox Theater in St. Louis.
Of course,
he comes walking out with a big fur on and literally just looks out and goes, "It's the most," and the whole crowd's like, ah. Yeah, it was pretty.
What you're saying is that's a stairway to heaven, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to it. Shohei, I'm wearing my Shohei shirt. Showtime. I don't know if you can see it. Showtime, because it's an Angels jersey on there, so that'll have to go out to the to Goodwill and have to get my new Shohei Ohtani stuff. Shohei signs with the Los Angeles Dodgers, 10 years, $700 million. There's so much to dive into with Shohei signing with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Just first, Murph, what was your reaction when you saw the news?
Holy crap. And not crap. You know, there's a lot of inside baseball, you know, wink, wink going on with this. I heard something like 68 million per year is going to be deferred or something like that.
Yeah, he actually signed a 10-year, $20 million contract with the Dodgers.
Yeah, he gets $2 million every year for the 10 years. And then for the 10 years following his contract, he gets $68 million a year.
So that's a little bit of like, you know, little parlor tricks going on there to kind of save them the body blow of owing them that money like outright.
I mean, but yeah, more importantly, it gives them more money to spend on players for the next 10 years.
Well, I just want to know, is this the new shift going on here, Lang? Is this how teams are going to just lure these big contracts to kind of like just backload them a little bit?
I thought about that too, but I remember I had a conversation once with an NBA agent, and he was like, you always want the money when you can get it, you know?
Right.
Like you want the money now. I think it's different for Shohei because he gets $50 million a year in off-field stuff, you know. But I would assume for the most part, like guys aren't gonna want to do this. Maybe they will.
Want to do that. That's weird to me. That's strange. Like you said, the international aspect of this is why he did that deal. Everybody knows that.
Or just that he has the money, you know, like he doesn't need. How much money do you need? Like 50 million a year is probably enough to live on. I know cost of living in California is high, but 50 million a year is probably enough to get by on. And, you know, maybe I'll put away that 680 and just sit on that for later.
And it's guaranteed, right, Fish? Like that.
Oh, yeah.
Around money is guaranteed. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to me because when I think of the contract and I think of the backloaded part of the 68 million, that seems crazier than 70 million a year for 10 years. Right. How it's set up. We didn't think it would get to 700 million.
No.
I mean, that kind of shocked me as well. But then when you hear it's that number, it's no shock it's the Dodgers. I mean, the Angels weren't going to do that. And frankly, I don't think any of the other teams were going to do it either.
I wasn't that shocked. I mean, the number's shocking, but I wasn't that shocked it was the Dodgers. Like that felt like kind of the way it was going to end up eventually.
Very on brand, basically.
Yeah. The number's huge, and the structure of it is so weird. That was kind of surprising. That was probably more shocking than it being the Dodgers. Like I have a lot of questions about that and how that plays out and how that. I mean, they're still on the hook for the money. They got to come up with the money somehow. And like I don't understand how it doesn't affect their luxury tax, or if it does, or if it only counts $2 million against the number for the next 10 years, then at some point it has to count against it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
in years, what, 2033 through 2043, they're going to have like $68 million of dead money on their payroll. Like I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know how it would work with the luxury tax and things of that nature. Only because that 68 million per year, that's the contract's not even going then. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't just move people's contracts into a place
I
where
mean,
they're
but
not
they
even
are,
playing.
but they're paying him. So like they'll be paying him, right? So like
Yes.
he's under
Yeah,
contract.
I mean, does Bobby Bonilla's money still go against the Mets every year?
I don't know.
I don't
That's a
know.
good question.
Well,
He's
But
getting
this
paid
puts
till
Bobby Bonilla's deal to shame.
yeah.
oh
Well,
yeah,
maybe I don't know. Bonilla gets paid till 2035. I saw
That's
that.
true.
Like he's gonna get paid for the next 12 years, which is crazy. Like I mean, at least Otani's is only 10 years, but it is a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Going to the Dodgers, is this do you just go ahead and pencil the Dodgers in as the favorite in the National League?
no, not yet. I still think they gotta get some little help with their pitching because he's not pitching that
Right.
season because of what's going on. So they need to do something about the pitching. They got exposed in the playoffs, man. Like they were getting chased off the mound like something awful. So they got to get like I think they got to get a serious arm in there, like a upper echelon. I know it sounds funny after like slapping $700 million on the table for Shohei, but they got to get a guy in there that can just kind of like help out and be a big factor in there because I don't think it's going to be this year. I think the following year, I've been hearing talks that he may not be used starting pitcher. He may be used just as a relief pitcher or bullpen guy to come in, starting his way back. I don't think they're going to just throw him back into the wolves like that. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's his career. Hitting DH and pitching relief. I mean, I've heard of stranger things.
Yeah, it's I don't know, and we'll get into it later. Soto going to the Yankees as well. It feels like you can load up on hitting all you want, but what did that do in the postseason this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Braves and the Dodgers were both bounced early, and those are the two best offensive teams in the game. And so now you add another bat, and he's amazing. I mean, he's a generational talent. But I don't know. I mean, I'm with you, Murph. I don't think it just you just pencil them in year after year after year being the World Series favorite.
Right.
They're always going to be among the favorites, if not the favorite, just because they're loaded with talent. But yeah, they had some holes in that pitching staff.
I also think pitching was their starting pitching was a big problem. Like
And Kershaw's out through most of the summer.
If you paid Aaron Judge, if Aaron Judge could come in and well, I guess he's not even playing in the field. So if Aaron Judge was going to DH and give you 3 relief innings per week, like would that be worth doubling his salary? Like because that's basically what you're asking if Ohtani's going to DH and be a relief pitcher.
I think that's what's going to happen though, Lang. I don't see.
I don't know if you could pay a relief pitcher and a DH $70 million a year. If you just had a DH and a relief pitcher on your roster, like if the Braves went out and signed a DH and signed a relief pitcher and paid the two of them $35 million each, you'd think they were crazy.
What about a shutdown closer?
Who's the highest paid closer in baseball right now? That's a good question, but I guarantee he's not making $35 million a year.
No.
I mean, the Braves have Ozuna as their DH, and he was awesome last year, and he's making like 18 million, and everybody's so up in arms about how much he gets.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about 550 million for Shohei, and that was before the injury, before the Tommy John surgery. We were talking about that as a starter and a DH all-star type bat, ace type starter.
Right.
That you'd get that sort of money. They went even beyond that. They went to $700 million. I think I'm with you, Lang. I better expect him to be a starter. I better expect him to be the
Yeah.
ace of my staff, because if not, what am I doing? But
Edwin Diaz was the highest paid closer last year, and he didn't play, and he was making 19.6 million.
Wow.
Raisel Iglesias was number 2 at 16 million.
Wow.
wow, interesting.
So, I mean, that's a lot of money for a guy who's on his second surgery on his arm, right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, like that. I mean, I guess if you can afford it and you think it's the the reward outweighs the risk, like
Right.
financially, and maybe it helps you sell more partnerships over in Asia and stuff. I don't know, but I guess the Dodgers balanced all that and figured, hey, it's worth it. But like, if I was a Dodgers fan, like, yeah, it's exciting, but like, I could we get like, could we have used that money and signed 2 starting pitchers
Yeah, because
who
I
could
don't
play right
see it
now?
work. I don't see it working out any other way, Lang. That's my point. I just Tommy John's, you're usually out what, a year and a half, maybe a year.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Also, I mean, I guess if you're deferring the money, you could say, all right, we just spent $2 million on our DH next year.
Right.
but you're gonna
Right.
be you still have to pay him that $68 million.
But we have it budgeted. We have a $68 million budget left over for this year. So I'm expecting my team to go out and get a starter and maybe 2 starters, like some guys who can give me some innings, because the Dodgers need that badly.
Yeah. Shohei is set to make $70 million a year for the next decade. He'll earn more next year. If he on the contract,
Right.
$70 million,
Yeah.
he would make more next year than 8 teams have on their payroll right now.
And I know Oakland is number 1 on that, right? They got to be number 1 on that list.
Surprisingly, they're number 2.
Yo, who's number 1?
Let me guess. I'd say the Pirates
No,
or
Pirates are 4.
Tampa.
Tampa's not on that 8. No,
Miami.
Miami is 8.
Washington maybe, or
No, good guess though, but no.
Oh man, that's a tough one. Seattle.
no.
Miami's 8. Milwaukee is 7. Cleveland is 6. Kansas City 5. Pittsburgh 4. Cincinnati 3. Oakland 2. And the lowest payroll, 26-man payroll, the Baltimore Orioles.
Huh.
Wow.
The division champs. How about
And they
that?
just signed Kimbrel.
Yeah, that should work.
Okay.
So Shohei's deal's worth $700 million. The Oakland A's payroll the last 10 seasons combined, $667 million. That's unbelievable. Some dude named Jake tweeted this out, and I don't know why it was on my timeline, but his name's Jake. Shout out Jake. The annual Artie Moreno failure checklist. Artie Moreno, the general manager of the athletic, or owner of the Anaheim Angels. Yeah. Number 1, signed Albert Pujols, Josh Hamilton, and Anthony Rendon to a combined 22 years, $624 million. Didn't really work out.
No.
On those 3. Failed to invest in the minor league system. Never made the playoffs with Trout and Ohtani on the roster. An active 9-year playoff drought, which is the longest in the sport. Reclaimed ownership of the team after putting it up for sale last season. Failed to trade Ohtani in previous trade deadlines when we were uncompetitive. I like how he said we. And then went all in at trade deadline this year, only to DFA and waive every player acquired to get under the luxury tax. And then lost Shohei Ohtani to the crosstown rival. A failure of an owner and a failure of an organization. Artie Moreno's tenure as an Angels owner will be remembered as one that wasted 2 generational superstars.
Shout out Jake.
Jake make a lot of sense.
Shout out to Jake. Yeah.
Jake's speaking the truth.
No lies.
It just feels like they're one of those franchises. How can they make it work?
Right.
And you always want to say that you're in Los Angeles, but so are the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have a new GM who's been there a year, who's presided over this whole mess to his discredit. But he was the Braves assistant GM and worked under Anthopoulos and built up the farm system. Like, he's very well regarded. I think this is still like the tear down part of everything. But like letting Ohtani walked for nothing. I mean, I guess they tried at the trade deadline to add pieces, and then he got hurt. But letting him go for nothing is pretty tough.
So if we're talking about tearing it down, Lane, that means that Trout's
Trout.
looking at the front door right now, right? So
I mean, don't you think he
where,
is? I
where do
would
you think
be.
he's going?
If Trout's not looking at the looking to get out, when would he ever get out?
Yeah.
I mean, it's already been this long where people are wondering why he doesn't want out. If not, I guess he's just comfortable.
Right.
And that's too bad, because he's one of the best players in the game, if not the best player in the game over the last decade. And just seeing him waste away in Anaheim with the Angels. At least last year, the Angels were on TV a bunch with Shohei and Trout. He's back to being irrelevant again.
Yeah.
Completely irrelevant. Please, free Mike Trout for baseball's sake. It would help the game.
Yeah, I just don't know if there's a market for him right now, Fish, because there's just so much surrounding with the injuries. It's just, I mean, there's going to be like mid-range teams that are gamble on that, but the Yankees of the world, all those type of teams, Boston, they're going to steer clear of them.
I bet the Mets would do it.
I don't even know if the Mets would do it. Not after that last debacle, Lane. I think the new.
No,
I knew
you're underestimating the Mets. they'll always be up for it.
Yeah,
I think the
no
Mets.
kidding.
I mean, because Trout's a Jersey guy, right? Like, I bet
Yep.
the Mets, the Phillies. There's got to be teams around there who would take a shot at him.
Yeah, you would think so. I think there'd be a lot of teams on Mike
You
Trout.
think so? Okay.
I do. I think a lot of teams would be, and yeah, I mean, I'd be scared, Murph, of hoping that he stays healthy. But when he's healthy,
he's exceptional.
he's amazing.
Yeah.
So
But it's just
we'll
keeping him
We'll
healthy.
see.
That's the trick.
Yeah, hopefully he can get out of there, though. There are some free agent pitchers that are still available, including Blake Snell, the Cy Young Award winner. Haven't heard much about Blake Snell and where he may go. He was making $16.6 million. So we'll see what sort of contract he could get. But there's an ace for you. The next available pitcher, Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the pitcher that the Cubs are looking at right now, since they couldn't really haul in Shohei. I think they're going after him. There's another Japanese pitcher. Let me get his name that they're looking at. It seems like all the Japanese pitchers are just like on everyone's list right now.
Well, I saw the Dodgers were in on the guy you were talking about, Fish.
Yamamoto.
Yeah, Yamamoto, and there's
He's only
Shota.
he's 25 years old.
Yeah, he's 25, and there's Shota Imanaga, I believe. It's another pitcher that they're looking at. And I also Tyler Glasnow.
Tyler Glasnow is available. Yes.
Of the Rays, they're looking at him right now.
He's
too.
a trade guy though. Like he's
They're looking at trading him, trading for him. That's the talk. But I think there's some decent pitching out there to go for. I think that's what the Cubs need to do, because we're not really sure about the rotation right now. We're not sure who's going to leave and who's going to stay.
Jordan Montgomery excite you?
Not really. I would be more excited if we can just on the base pads now. We can go after somebody like a Matt Chapman. I think we need guys that can get doubles, can get homers, that's great at defense. I think he's like a 4-time Gold Glove.
Sounds like Mike Trout.
Yeah, but he's healthy, Lane, and he the last 3 seasons, I think he's averaging 24 homers, 27 doubles, and reading around 70 walks. So he's going to get on base a lot. So I like Chapman. That's another rumor going on. So the Cubs got a lot of money, man. I know we was joking around last time, like, is Cubs going to spring out $550 million? But the fact that they were even in the game says that they got a checkbook that they're really to come out. Bellinger has to be the first option. We have to just back up the truck for him. I don't care what we do. We just make sure that he stays on the team.
Yeah. All right, we'll get more to the Cubs in a moment, but I do want to ask one more thing about Shohei. Is it good for baseball that he goes to the Dodgers? I mean, is this good for the game, fans of the game?
I say no. I don't like the way the financing worked out because like the Dodgers are basically, and I know it's within the rules, but it's circumventing the spirit of why they have a luxury tax and why you have a salary cap. And I mean, I don't know. It makes it harder for a team like Baltimore to compete, or a team, that's a fun young team, when another team's able to defer this money and just load up on stars. So
I mean,
I vote no.
I think it's good for baseball only that it's going to really put the spotlight on the Asian fan base. That's just it's about to explode. I think that there's going to be this excuse me, this pipeline that's going to happen with in terms of the fan base. I also think that, listen, man, you're going to pay more for the Dodger dogs. It is what it is. You're going to pay more for beer. I think somebody made the joke that they have the highest pay in terms of beer for each of the stadiums. But it's the Dodgers, man. This is what the Dodgers do. I know we be complaining all the time. We complain about the Yankees, the Dodgers, the snap, but this is what they do. And he's the perfect fit for them, for what they want to do.
It's going to be great for baseball when the Dodgers get beat by the Braves in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that'll be miserable for baseball. Poor baseball when that happens. I think it's good in that, if I thought I could see Shohei a lot when he played for the Angels, he's certainly going to be on TV a lot now. Yeah. I mean, Dodgers will be on all the time. It's a perfect fit. It's a Los Angeles market. It's the Dodgers. It's Shohei. It's baseball. I mean, it's perfect for Major League Baseball. As a fan, I don't know. I don't think the Dodgers were the team that I was rooting for him to end up with. I mean, I thought the Cubs would be fun. That'd be a great story. I thought the Braves would have been great. Just mainly because I get to watch the Braves every night. I thought that would have been awesome to see them. And Atlanta over Los Angeles. Yeah, sure. Let's go for Atlanta, the small guy.
What did you think about the Toronto talk?
I didn't want him to go to Toronto.
Okay. Wow.
And because it's in Canada. I mean, is that too harsh of an answer?
We're going to get letters. I already know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because it is. I mean, you want him to be an American star,
right?
Well, he's not from America.
Well, I mean, as much as he can.
I know what you mean, like the American team.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, going back to watching it on TV, the Blue Jays are never on TV. Now they'd have been on more with Shohei, but I think it still would have been more forgotten than anything else. So I didn't want the Dodgers, but I guess I'm fine with the Dodgers. Whatever. I mean, after the deal, and I thought personally he was going to stay with the Angels. I thought he'd stay because everybody that talks about him says what a comfort guy he is and how comfortable he's gotten in Los Angeles. Well, he can stay in Los Angeles now. Yeah, so now he just went to the Dodgers.
I kind of knew he wasn't going to stay when they traded his two best friends to the Braves, apparently. Like the two guys that the Angels traded to the Braves, everyone was saying, oh, that's Shohei's best friends. And I was like, oh, well, I figured either the Braves were doing something to get him or that he was out.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew.
All right. Hey, get back to the grind at the next Grizzlies home game this Friday at 7:00 when your Grizzlies host at Dillon Brooks and the Houston Rockets. It's Memphis Grizzlies Ford Scholars Night, presented by Ford and your Mid-South Ford dealers. Fans will want to arrive early. The first 5,000 receive Grizzlies holiday wrapping paper. To purchase your tickets or for more information, open the Grizzlies mobile app or call 901-888-HOOP today. Also, you can give the gift of Grizz this holiday season with a 6-game holiday pack. Get the best prices on the season's best giveaways and matchups, including the Lakers, Clippers, and more. Holiday packs start at just $30 per game. 901-888-HOOP or visit grizzlies.com/packs for more information. All right, let's check out our teams. The Atlanta Braves. I'll run down what the Braves have done, and then we'll discuss.
All right.
They signed Joe Jimenez to a 3-year, $26 million contract. They exercised Charlie Morton's $20 million option. Decline options on Colin McHugh, Kirby Yates, Eddie Rosario, and claim Angel Perdomo off waivers from the Pirates. Then maybe we should take these one at a time because there are a bunch.
Yeah, it's
All
a
right,
lot. Like,
Charlie,
the second move was more impressive.
you get Morton's option. No surprise there. I mean, the dude just
Right.
keeps making
It's a
$20
little
million.
bit. It's a little bit of a surprise because he's 40 plus, but
And they just keep handing him 20 million.
and he
He's
keeps
like,
getting
"All right."
hurt every year. Like he
Yeah.
gets hurt every year in the playoffs, or in the postseason. But I mean, we need pitching, so
Yeah. Rosario, I guess, as far as the declining options, that was a interesting one.
Yeah, I don't think it was that much of a surprise though. Because he was awesome in the World Series a couple of years ago. It's just kind of been a steady decline since then.
Right.
He was actually pretty good defensively last year, but I wasn't that shocked they let him walk, and we can get into what they did next though.
They trade Michael Soroka, Nicky Lopez, Jared Schuster to the White Sox for relief pitcher Aaron Bummer.
Yeah.
Mm.
What a bummer. He's all those guys were on the 40-man roster, and they were trying to clear out space on the 40-man roster to do more stuff. And I guess they just figured Soroka, like it's just been
Saw enough.
one thing after another, and maybe a fresh start will help with him.
Yeah, and then trade Kyle Wright to the Royals.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to pitch next year anyway, so that's another sunk cost you're trying to get off your books to get some help right now.
Then they acquire Jared Kelnick, Marco Gonzalez, and Evan White from the Mariners. They end up sending Gonzalez to Pittsburgh, which is a good move. That former Cardinal. I'm not a fan of Marco Gonzalez. He's terrible.
They got rid of White already, also. So now it's just Kelnick's the only one.
Wait a minute, they got rid of White already?
Yeah, they traded him to the Angels.
Jeez, man.
Kelnick's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, he does strike out a lot. That's a little scary, but
that's the best one actually. That's the one that turned my head.
Yeah, he's good, and he's under contract for like 4 more years or something like that. Like he's young, and that the left field was a question because if you're getting rid of Rosario, who plays left field? There was some talk that Vaughn Grissom was going to do it, and the Braves GM said, "Look, Austin Riley played left field years ago. When we're trying to find a way to get a bat in the lineup, Chipper Jones played left field for a couple of years, so maybe Grissom would go to left field. But now they're turn. They might platoon the two of them. But I like Kelenic being like sort of the Jock Peterson of this team. Like having a little grit and a little fire, and I think he'll probably fit in pretty well with this group.
And then got David Fletcher and Max Stassi from the Angels, traded Stassi to the White Sox later. And
I think Fletcher's sticking around. He'll be the backup infielder.
All right. So what are we looking at?
We still need a starting pitcher. Like we need at least one starting pitcher. I don't know who that is or what that is, and I'm a little nervous that they're not going to come out of all this with one starting pitcher. But because Schuster, one of the guys they traded, was one of the guys who ate up a lot of innings. So I don't know what they're going to do. The one guy they got, I forgot which one of the guys you mentioned earlier. They're going to try to make him into a starter because he throws 99. But I mean, I would love it if we could go get one of those free agent. Not, I was kind of hoping like for a Sonny Gray type or just somebody who can come in and eat, 180 innings a year. Like they need somebody like that.
Yeah. The Cubs, Cody Bellinger declined his option. No surprise there. Brad Boxberger's mutual option was declined. Marcus Stroman opted out of his contract. Did pick up the option on Kyle Hendricks and Yan Gomes.
Yeah, I like those two moves. I think they've shown that they can stay on the field. Stroman, man, I don't, it's like you want to take a chance on any type of pitching that was strong. He was a strong pitcher. I think, I don't want to say dead arm or whatever, people will use the excuse, but something happened towards the end of the season where he just broke down. Something was going on, whether it was injuries or whatever. Maybe we can start off talks with him. Maybe we can get in a bidding for him, but I think he's gone.
Anytime I see this, I start to think, well, maybe the market's really not there for him. The Royals are interested in signing Marcus Stroman. If the Royals are interested, doesn't that tell you, well, maybe a lot of teams aren't interested?
This is
Yeah.
what everyone was saying, Fish. They were saying when, well, how come you guys didn't pick up the option? How come you guys didn't resign him? And the talk was the Cubs are just willing to let him walk away
No.
because they just thought that maybe it was what he showed was almost like a flash in the pan and it would never happen again. I don't know, but we're not in the business. We don't have the luxury of like turning down quality pitchers. We're not in that game. If he's available, we should make him available at the price that's warranted. The issue is that he's asking for too much.
Yeah. Reese Hoskins, you interested in him?
I'm on the fence with him. I know they've been talking about it. I don't know, man. I Fish. I just want to make a big splash. Like I'm tired of the chipping away. Chip this, chip that. I just want to get. I want to get an all-star. I want to get a person that can just come in there, a guy that can just come in there and just make some noise. And I think too often the Cubs, they've been pretty smart with picking these mid-level guys, and they can turn into workhorses. But like I said, give me one of those Japanese pitchers. Give me Chapman, like I said. Some of the other moves I was speaking about, and make sure, like I said, I know, Lang. I know you got jokes about Bellinger. I know you think he's out of here, but we got to do what we can to keep that dude because he really, really sparked us. He sparked the offense.
If you guys come out of this and you don't get Ohtani or Bellinger, is that a
it's brutal.
disaster?
It's disaster for me. It's terrible. Ohtani was more of a kind of, I'm going to say a pipe dream because we were in it, but Bellinger, he's gettable, man. We saved that man from a scrap heap. I'm sorry, man. Nobody was going to give him that deal that we gave him, that 1-year deal. Nobody was looking to do that. So I'm not saying he owes us anything because that's not the way.
You kind of are.
But
I'm not saying that he has to owe us anything. I'm just saying, man, come on, man. Just give us your price and we'll work it out with you if we can.
yeah, Craig Counsell talking about the new job with the Cubs said he needed a new challenge, and
he's got a challenge, Fish.
yeah, I think he got a good one though,
and he's got a lot more pressure. This is what people don't understand, that the lovable loser tag is over, man. Like it used to be, the Cubs used to be the place where a manager can come in and it'll be that sunset, right? Because you're not really expected to win anything. Now that World Series win has done something where fans are like, man, you're on the clock. We giving you like 2 years straight up. Like you don't do anything in 2 years. You saw what they did to Madden. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. One other Cub note this week: Andre Dawson came out and said he wants his cap changed in the Hall of Fame from the Expos to the Cubs.
Huh. Damn right he does. He should have did that a long time ago. I don't even know why he went as an Expo. Come on, man. Nobody thinks of him as an Expo. The Cub. Boy.
Was he the first Expo? Maybe. I mean, that may have been it. Was he the first Expo? Maybe.
That's what it was. I think he was rep, and he had, if you balance it out, he had more great years as an Expo than he did with the Cubs. But come on, man. Like seriously, there's still Cubs, like old head Cubs fans are still griping about that. Like, come on, Expos.
Well, maybe they'll grant him his wish. All right, the Cardinals. The Cardinals set out to get 3 starting pitchers. That was their goal. They got Lance Lynn, 1 year, $11 million. They got Kyle Gibson, 1 year, $12 million. And they got Sonny Gray, 3 years, $75 million.
I like the Sonny Gray.
Does Lance Lynn count, really?
Here's the problem. This is what the Cardinals have just done. You throw in Miles Michaelis and Steven Matz. You basically have a number 1 and 3 4s and a 5.
But it's still, I mean, Fish.
Lynn and Gibson are nothing better than a 500 pitcher that's going to eat a lot of innings.
It is an upgrade from last year, though, isn't it?
It is an upgrade from last year. But
I mean, Sonny Gray is going to give you some. He's going to give you some serious heat.
I like Sonny Gray. I still think they need another guy. I mean, There is a pitcher available that's better than Sonny Gray. I'd love to have him and Blake Snell, and you go 1-2 with those two at the top of your rotation. I think you could also have Sonny Gray as your ace. I'd be fine with that if you got a really strong number 2, a guy that's almost as good as Sonny Gray. Because Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson, again, these are two guys. They'll win 12 games, have an ERA of 6, and eat up a lot of innings. I just what's disappointing with the Cardinals right now is that, and I thought it before last season, which turned into a disaster, but they do enough to try and win the division. But do they do enough to try and win a World Series?
Baby steps.
If Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson are your 2 big of your 3 big starters that you were going to get this offseason so you could contend, that's not winning you a World Series.
Whenever I see teams give starting pitchers 1-year deals, that's a neon sign blinking to me that they're not sure about that guy.
Sure.
Like you can give a 1-year deal to a base, just regular player on the field, like a second baseman or third baseman. That's cool because sometimes you just need to fit somebody in there. A starting pitcher is somebody you want on your team for at least 3 years. And Lance Lynn?
It's different. It's different if you're the Cardinals than if you're the Braves, right? Because if you have a Strider and you have a Fried, a Lance Lynn would be helpful.
Right.
Sure.
But he's there to eat up innings, though, Lane. He's not.
Yeah, I'm saying if you're the Cardinals, you need him to win games. You don't need him to eat innings.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a little different situationally.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think if your rotation is Gray, I guess Michaelis would be number 2.
Yeah, number 2, and that's saying something.
Gray, Michaelis, Lynn, Gibson. Yeah, you're better than last year, and your bullpen won't be as taxed as it has been because Michaelis is also an innings getter. I mean, all of those guys are innings getters, so the bullpen won't be as taxed. So you should be better. I don't know. I just don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough for this team right now. The Red Sox
teams are kind of following. You think teams are following the back end heavy on your rotation in terms of getting all of these innings killers just to pack them up at the backside, so you don't have to worry about your starting pitchers. Just like make sure you just have a backside rotation and everything else to complete itself out. Do you think because you've seen the success that happened in the World Series? You just saw guys pitching 2 innings, 1 inning, back to back to back to back, and it wasn't really, well, who's the starter? Starter doesn't really matter anymore. You think the Cardinals are kind of looking at it that way?
I think they're looking at it like we overused the bullpen, and had guys pitch. I mean, it was a problem from the first week of the season last year, how they were using the bullpen and overusing the bullpen because starters just couldn't go 5 innings, and it was a nightly basis. And so I think that they figured that was one of the biggest problems, was overusing the pen. So now you bring these guys in and you hope that takes care of that problem. But again, I mean, Lance Lynn had an ERA over 6 this year. And he was like 11-11, and I think he was like 5-1 with the Dodgers. So it's just not, I don't know. He might eat a lot of innings because he's the type of guy that when he gives up runs, you just leave him out there to get killed.
He gives up a lot of home runs.
A lot of home runs.
A lot of home, but you know what else he does? He gets a lot of men on base, and somehow he gets out of the jam. He's one of those guys.
Well, and the thing with Lance Lynn, even going back to when he was a Cardinal originally, and he still has the problem. He's fine. He'll be swimming along fine. Everything's great. Then all of a sudden it'll be like a walk, a pass ball, a triple, a homer, and you're like, whoa, what just happened? And it just blows up quickly on him. So I don't know. I like the moves. I wish there was another one that could complement them. you're refurbishing your entire starting pitching staff, and you needed to. So they did that. I just don't know if it's good enough. Cardinals also traded Tyler O'Neill to the Boston Red Sox. Scott Boras is Tyler O'Neill's agent and said he was 8th in MVP voting, 2 Gold Gloves, 30 home runs. It's nice to know in the talent evaluation of the Cardinals, they have players who can reach higher than that. Wow.
Yikes.
All right.
That's nasty work.
Thanks, Scott Boras. Tyler O'Neill, he's gone. So now your glut of outfielders is down 1. So that's good. And Yadi Molina is returning to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh,
Wow.
The retired catcher is now a special assistant to the president of baseball operations, John Mozeliak.
They just
that
made that up, didn't they? They just made that title up for that man, didn't they?
he's just
Yeah.
gonna walk to the mound 3 times a game.
Wait till he's manager of the team.
Yeah, it's coming.
That's coming possibly this season if things don't go well for the Cardinals.
Oh, you mean your man is on the clock right now? That's what you're trying to say?
He's got to be. Has to be after what happened last year. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. Just has to be.
I mean, it's not his fault all the pitchers are hurt.
Well, no,
Can't pitch
Lang.
and-
But-
I mean, what is
Lang, it is his fault, and I'm glad Tyler O'Neill's gone because it could help in this problem. Having the same lineup for 2 days in a row would be a good thing for the Cardinals. I mean, when they go weeks without having the same lineup 2 days in a row,
Yeah.
that's awful. That's awful for the players. That's stupid for the manager.
It's,
And
I mean,
yeah.
it's like the Grizzlies right now.
Right.
Like, yeah, everybody's
Exactly.
hurt. Yeah. You never
Exactly.
know who's can play.
All right. Well, fellas, I think what we need to do, because there's a lot of other news around Major League Baseball throughout the league. We're short on time. You want to get back together next week and talk about the rest of the league and the hot stove?
Sure.
I would love to. I think what the Yankees have done, I think needs to be spoken about for more than
Oh, yeah.
20 minutes. So we need to get into
And I
that.
think also there'll be more stuff happening in the next week because now
Yeah.
that Ohtani's done, like I think dominoes will start to fall.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. All right, cool. Well, that's going to do it for this week. This week's edition of Infield Fly. We'll be back with you again next week to talk more hot stove in this Christmas month. So we'll do that. Should we do it next week? It is Christmas. Is it Christmas
No,
week
no, no,
next
we
week?
got
Nah, it's
2
not
weeks, 2
Christmas
weeks.
week. Yeah,
Okay.
we got 2 weeks for
Yeah.
Christmas. Yeah, so we
I
can do it
couldn't-
Monday or Tuesday.
Couldn't
better
tell
start-
with my background.
Yeah,
You better
yeah.
start buying your gifts though, because it's coming up.
You
Yeah,
haven't
we
brought
better
your gift
start.
yet? You haven't brought your gift yet, Fish?
Haven't even started. I don't know. I think my wife does all that. I hope. All right, that's going to do it for us here on Infield Fly. For Keith Murphy, for Lang Whitaker, I'm Rob Fisher. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week here on Infield Fly on Grind City Media.